Megan's whole speech is about not limiting her and having high expectations for all students to rise towards. Because Megan was able to be with her general education peers, she had high expectations set for her, and she learned more than just academics. She learned how to be independent, how to advocate for herself. She did not just settle for jobs, she continued to look for ways to keep learning and achieving, now studying to be a public speaker. There have been several case rulings that have led to policies that hold school leadership accountable for students receiving equal opportunity to benefit academically with their peers without disabilities. One was Oberti versus Board of Education, where it was decided that children with disabilities must be educated in the least restrictive environment. In this case, the court adopted a two-part test to determine whether a child had been placed in the least restrictive environment. Another case was TR versus Knightwood Township. In this case, the court clarified that the least restrictive environment is one that, to the greatest extent possible, satisfactorily educates the disabled child with non-disabled children in the same school that the child would attend if they were not disabled. In our reading this week, we also saw Sacramento City Unified School District Board of Education versus Rachel H., where parents wanted her in a general education class, but the school only offered her a special education placement. The judge said that the school must educate her in the general education classroom. He also declared 4 factors to be considered when determining LRE: the educational benefits in the general education classroom, non-academic benefits, impact of the student with disabilities on the teacher and the other students, and the cost of the aids and services required to support the student in general education. The Supreme Court refused to hear the case, which left the ruling intact. This was a large part in ending segregation by giving clear guidelines of how students with disabilities would be included. By not limiting Megan, she was able to meet expectations that were held for her. She's a contributing member of society. She's been a fashion model. She used to work at Mile High Down Syndrome Association and is now studying to be a public speaker. She is helping to make the world a more inclusive space. By having her in the classroom, she was able to teach her peers about kids with disabilities and how they are not that different from themselves. Megan notes that she made a lot of friends in her time in the general education class. She was the first cheerleader in the state with Down syndrome. Everyone who met Megan had their views of people with disabilities challenged. Megan is a great example that people with disabilities are just that, people. They should be treated like people. This enhanced the educational environment when she was at school and contributed to the welfare of society by helping creating a more accepting and understanding group of people.